Absolutely. Below is a YouTube-style article on the 1960 Nissan Patrol, focusing on its legacy, design, utility, and global influence without referring to handling condition. The 1960 Nissan Patrol, Japan's off-road pioneer. In the rugged world of off-road legends, a few names stand out, icons that have earned their place in history not through glamour, but through grit. Among them, the 1960 Nissan Patrol holds a special place. It was Japan's answer to global 4x4 demand, a vehicle built not for luxury, but for endurance, resilience, and hard work. Before it became a common sight in deserts, forests, and mountainous terrains around the world, the Nissan Patrol began as a bold experiment, and by 1960, it had matured into a rugged warrior ready to take on global roads, trails, and untamed paths. This is the story of how the 1960 Nissan Patrol became one of the earliest and most important chapters in Japan's off-road revolution. Born from a need for toughness. To understand the significance of the 1960 Patrol, we need to rewind a few years. Post-War Japan was rebuilding, and the Japanese automotive industry was still in its early stages. However, the need for a military-style utility vehicle was growing. In the early 1950s, Nissan developed its first 4WD model, the Nissan 4W60, heavily inspired by the American Willys Jeep. But by the end of the decade, Nissan was ready to step beyond imitation and create something original, something Japanese in spirit, but global in ambition. That's where the second-generation Patrol came in. Launched in 1960, internally known as the 60 series, this was the vehicle that would define the Nissan Patrol line for decades to come. Design that meant business. The 1960 Patrol didn't try to look pretty, and that's what made it so beautiful. It had a boxy, upright design with flat panels, exposed hardware, a vertically slatted grille, and circular headlights. Everything about it screamed purpose over polish. The short front overhang, large fenders, and open wheel arches suggested one thing: this machine was built to tackle the untamed world. Available in both short wheelbase and long wheelbase versions, the Patrol featured a body-on-frame chassis, a must for off-road performance. Its steel body panels were thick and durable, designed to endure impacts and heavy use. The minimalistic interior featured metal dashboards, basic gauges, bench seats, and manual levers. It wasn't about comfort, it was about control and capability. This was a vehicle engineered to serve, not pamper. The heart, a true workhorse engine. Powering the 1960 Patrol was the P-Series 4.0-liter inline-six petrol engine, producing around 125 horsepower and 216 Newton-meters of torque. That might not sound extreme by today's standards, but in 1960, that was serious muscle for a utility vehicle. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and a 2-speed transfer case, the engine was all about torque delivery and reliability. Nissan engineered the engine for low-end grunt, ideal for slow climbs, heavy towing, and powering through rough terrain. And since it was a naturally aspirated inline-six, it delivered predictable, durable performance, a hallmark of early Patrols. Breaking new ground globally. While originally intended for military and industrial use in Japan, Nissan had much bigger dreams for the Patrol. The 1960 model was the first Nissan Patrol exported in large numbers, marking the start of its international reputation. In Australia, the Patrol was the first vehicle to cross the Simpson Desert in 1962, a feat that stamped its name in the Off-Road Hall of Fame. In the Middle East, where extreme heat and sand can destroy lesser vehicles, the Patrol proved itself as a worthy match to the Toyota Land Cruiser. In South America and Africa, it became a favorite for forestry teams, oil companies, and adventurers. In the U.S., the Patrol was briefly sold in the early 60s, predating even the Toyota Land Cruiser's American debut. The 1960 Patrol was not just Nissan's first serious global export SUV, it was the first true ambassador of Japanese off-road engineering. a platform built for purpose. What made the 1960 Patrol so successful was its simplicity. Nissan wasn't trying to impress with gimmicks, it wanted to build a vehicle that could be trusted in the middle of nowhere. Its leaf spring suspension system was tough, not fancy. The drivetrain was robust, the transfer case was reliable, and the simplicity of the mechanical components made it easy to repair and maintain, even in remote environments. Because of this, the Patrol developed a cult following among overlanders, farmers, military forces, and industrial operators. It was the kind of vehicle you could throw into the wild and forget until you needed it to start up and get you home. Hardcore utility with everyday appeal. While the 1960 Patrol was a heavy-duty vehicle, it was also surprisingly versatile. Its long wheelbase version offered ample cargo space, making it ideal for delivery, medical, and even police use. In rural areas, it doubled as a family hauler during the week and a rugged utility vehicle on weekends. Some variants even offered removable roofs, transforming the Patrol into a part-time convertible. This made it popular in warmer climates where open-air driving was ideal for both practical and recreational reasons. And while the comfort level was minimal, owners often customized their Patrols with seat upgrades, auxiliary lighting, winches, and utility racks, making each Patrol a personalized adventure tool. Built for decades, remembered for generations, vehicles like the 1960 Nissan Patrol are not easily forgotten. They leave behind stories of journeys taken, obstacles overcome, and environments conquered. In many parts of the world, you can still find these old Patrols running. They've been repainted, repowered, and in some cases, patched together with love and ingenuity. But they still run. This isn't by accident. The Patrol's engineering resilience and the dedication of owners around the world have kept these machines alive, not in museums, but in action. Legacy, the birth of a legend. The 1960 Patrol was just the beginning. It laid the foundation for what would become one of the most respected 4WD lineups in history. It gave birth to the 260, 160, Y60, and Y61 series, which dominated off-road markets for decades. It inspired a generation of Nissan engineers to think big and build tough. It earned Nissan a permanent place in the Off-Road Hall of Fame. Today's Patrol, a luxurious and high-tech SUV, may be a far cry from its bare-bones ancestor. But at its core, the spirit of the 1960 Patrol still lives on, a vehicle that never gives up, no matter the terrain. A symbol of simplicity, strength, and survival. In a world of overcomplicated vehicles and fragile luxury, the 1960 Nissan Patrol stands tall as a monument to mechanical honesty. It didn't promise to entertain, it promised to endure. And it delivered, again and again. Whether it was used by an Australian explorer, a desert nomad, a South American rancher, or a Japanese engineer, the 1960 Patrol was a tool that became a companion. Few vehicles in history can say the same. Conclusion: a pioneer worth remembering. The 1960 Nissan Patrol wasn't a superstar in the traditional sense. It didn't dazzle at auto shows or set speed records, but it quietly built a reputation across continents as one of the most dependable and rugged machines of its time. For collectors, off-road enthusiasts, and those who value the stories behind the steel, the 1960 Patrol remains a symbol of what vehicles were meant to be: honest, hard-working, and unforgettable. Whether parked beside a modern SUV or tackling a forgotten trail, the Patrol still speaks loud and clear. Built for purpose, ready for anything. Would you like me to create a matching YouTube title, description, and hashtags for this article too?